The Secretary will read the third order.
Debate on vote for Community Safety Western Cape Appropriation Bill.
I'll see Minister Plato.
Good afternoon, Deputy Speaker, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Premier, Honourable Cabinet colleagues, members of the Standing Committee on Community Safety, members of the Provincial Parliament, Provincial Police Commissioner, Municipal Police Chiefs, Department of Community Safety and Ministry staff, members of the Provincial CPF Board, CPF and Neighbourhood Watch members, non-governmental organisations, our partners in safety, Pastors Errol and Pastor Jack from the ARC, Mr. Thornton and Annalise Abrams from Northern College, and their graduates, Chrysalis graduates, and distinguished guests. My observation from our many community engagements and outreaches with the people of the province makes it clear that to realize our national outcome for every person to feel safe, as well as our provincial strategic goal, PSG 3, of increasing wellness, safety and tackling social ills. We have to do what we are mandated to do better, and we have to do more if everyone in this province is to enjoy their constitutional freedoms. Police at national level must be more responsive to the needs of the people in our communities, and at provincial level must be a capable safety partner with communities and government. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Department of Community Safety has a solid track record of success, innovation, as well as service delivery. For the 6th consecutive year, we have received a clean audit outcome. This department and its programs have also won the Gold Award in the Regional SA Productivity Awards. We were recognized by the National Department of Public Service as the best run provincial department in the country. And we won silver in the Provincial Excellence Award for the category Best Implemented Program or Project. Reaching our goals and our past success is a worthy recognition of the work we do and a motivator to continue our work. However, the work is not done just because we administer well or only because we have innovative projects. Our work will only be done when our communities are safe environments for all. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Department of Community Safety's total budget for the 2016-17 financial year is 292,016,000 rand. Compared to last year's budget, the department sees an increase of 24% due to the announcement by the Premier in a State of the Province address that the Western Cape Liquor Authority is to be placed under the Department of Community Safety as from Friday, 1st April this year. We welcome the Liquor Authority into the department, as it will be a key player in one of our priority focus areas for 2016-17. The additional funding received is directed to the alcohol harms reduction game changer, our role in the after-schools game changer, as well as the expanded public works program grant allocation. The latter will ensure that every young person who successfully completes our Chrysalis program is given a 9-month work placement while being paid an EPWP stipend by the department. Honourable Speaker, the budget allows the department to help increase safety in our communities with targeted interventions through effective partnerships in our whole of society approach to safety in the province. This year, we will spend 132.8 million on compensating our dedicated employees who are tirelessly in our communities on a daily basis. 91.3 million rand on goods and services. 63.3 million on transfer payments to our safety partners. a 15.9 million rand increase from 2010, as our safety partners and partnerships in communities keep growing. The Western Cape government is able to be more responsive to the safety needs of the people in this province. And Speaker, 4.6 million rand will be used for capital assets. The Community Safety Improvement Partnership is the framework the department uses to ensure that our projects and programs are integrated between departments and spheres of government and includes the promotion of professional policing through effective oversight, the promotion of safety at all public buildings and spaces, and building safer communities through sustainable and viable partnerships. Speaker, let me be clear, the Department of Community Safety has no operational authority over the SAPs in this province, but we launch initiatives to help reduce crime, prevent crime, and create safe environments for everyone in this province. Key priorities in the 2016-17 financial year are based on the interventions the department will be spearheading to help address the scourge of gangsterism, drugs, and illegal guns. Help prevent crime and prevent people from becoming involved with crime and help create safer environments. The priority areas are leading government in the alcohol harms reduction game changer, full implementation of the Community Safety Act, youth interventions, and alternative opportunities. Expansion of the stabilization unit with the City of Cape Town and addressing the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry recommendations. Leading government in the alcohol harms reduction game changer, research confirms that alcohol abuse causes serious problems in the Western Cape. Not only does excessive alcohol use and abuse have very serious medical implications for users and their unborn babies, but alcohol is also among the primary drivers behind many violent crimes, fatalities on our roads, as well as domestic violence and abuse. The Department of Community Safety has been mandated by Cabinet to take the lead in the alcohol harms reduction game changer in PSG 3, which will see interventions based at both community level and policy level simultaneously introduced to bring about change. The aim is to reduce violent injuries and fatalities caused by alcohol in targeted areas through effective and efficient government partnerships and a whole of society approach. We cannot do this without the cooperation and support, Speaker, from our communities. The Western Cape government's main partners are the Violence Prevention through Urban Upgrade, South African Police Service, the Western Cape Liquor Authority, and the City of Cape Town. Within the Western Cape government, we have the full support and inputs of the Departments of Health, Social Development, Cultural Affairs and Sport, Economic Development and Tourism, as well as the Delivery Support Unit. The project will be rolled out within the 2016 financial year with the 3 locations for the first phase, Speaker, being Khayelitsha, Linguletu West to be specific, Guguletu and Nyanga, and Drakensberg, Parel East area, specific areas, Smarty Town and Fairyland. The alcohol harms reduction game changer is based on recommendations made by the World Health Organization and focuses on 3 levers: reduction in the number of liquor outlets, creating alternative opportunities, and awareness and availability of treatment. Part of the project aims to direct patrons to non-alcoholic recreational alternatives, such as cultural and sporting initiatives to promote healthy lifestyles, and includes education and development initiatives. Speaker, these activities will be carried out in partnership with the VPUU, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, and the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport. Linkages will also be formed with the MOD centers, which offer after-school sporting and cultural events to learners. We shall, in partnership with the City of Cape Town, roll out our successful Nyanga Year 2 program to support harms reduction initiatives in other communities. Another major consideration in the alcohol harms reduction game changer will be the accessibility to alcohol, including to underage children and through the unregulated, unlicensed liquor outlets in the province, especially in informal settlement and disadvantaged areas. Full implementation of the Community Safety Act. Honourable Speaker, the final regulations pertaining to the Community Safety Act will be printed in the Government Gazette by the end of June this year. The final set of regulations makes provision for the regulated monitoring, oversight and assessment of policing, accreditation and the support of neighbourhood watches, database of and partnerships with community organisations, including security service providers, as well as regular reporting on crime statistics by the Provincial Commissioner and the executive head of the municipal police. Honourable Speaker, this is the first time that neighbourhood watches are provided for in any legislation. The accreditation and professionalisation of neighbourhood watches envisaged in the Community Safety Act will help standardise the activities of reporting by and support provided to the dedicated volunteers who constitute our neighbourhood watches and who selflessly stand in service of their communities to help make them safer through visible crime deterrence activities. The application period for existing neighbourhood watch structures to apply for accreditation will commence when the final regulations are gazetted at the end of June 2016. I urge our neighbourhood watchers to work with us through this transition period towards professionalisation. The Provincial Neighbourhood Watch model aims to align training, funding and equipment to enable citizens to become capable partners in safety. This requires closer partnerships with other provincial departments, the City of Cape Town, interested local authorities, stakeholders, and also our communities. Honourable Speaker, the regular reporting of crime statistics by the Provincial Commissioner will see crime stats being better used to inform the public of safety risk in their communities and empower strategic action from the entire safety fraternity. The sharing of reliable information is considered a best practice model by many international cities, as the availability of more regular crime stats can enable the law enforcement entities to speed up their resource responses to crime and empower communities, safety structures and government to adopt with quicker responses. The National Police leadership, Speaker, unfortunately has not been as supportive of the regular release of crime statistics yet, despite support from local authorities. The full implementation of the Western Cape Community Safety Act can help increase safety in the province through targeted interventions based on sound information and operations driven by the entire safety fraternity. Youth interventions and alternative opportunities. Honourable Speaker, throughout 2015 and continuing this year, the Department of Community Safety has conducted numerous youth-focused safety outreaches. This type of outreach has become one of the flagship programs of the department. We have heard from our youth time and again that they do not want to be gangsters, but many fall victim to the skirts of gangsterism, drugs and illegal guns. One of the many reasons is because they were either unaware of the opportunities available to them or unable to access opportunities. Our partnership with Northlink College has seen great success in bringing together youth who want to study and a college who has the bursaries available to make this happen. In 2014 alone, over 3,000 youth attended the community gatherings, of which almost half ended up studying through Northlink. In 2015, applications received in Khayelitsha topped 334, Elsies River 180, Nyanga 336, in Guguletu 440, even in our rural areas. Our province's youth are eager to use these opportunities, with 297 youth applying in Beaufort West, 272 in Laingsburg, 458 and the surrounding area of Bredasdorp, and 273 in Ravensmead. And the list is endless. With the first outreaches for this year 2016, Speaker, we have already seen 612 youth apply for studies to Northland College. And I need to say, a huge amount of these youngsters, Mr. Speaker, are druggy and gangster youngsters. We create opportunities for them as well. Due to its success, these outreaches will continue.
Order.
At this point, I would like
Order.
to take a
Honourable
moment
Yonchi.
and make a special mention of one, and let me just repeat the sentence, Speaker. Yes. At this point, I would like to take a moment and make a special mention of one of the Northlink graduates who was assisted by this department and who was one of my guests last year during my budget speech. Unfortunately, Elroy Peters was tragically killed in January this year by a gangster gun. May your soul rest in peace. One of the department's flagship, and maybe at this point, Speaker, I need to say Elroy's dad is sitting up there. One of the department's flagship youth-orientated programs, the Youth Safety and Religious Partnership Program, provides fun, recreational and educational opportunities to our youth in a safe space during the school holidays, when they are most vulnerable to negative social behaviors such as alcohol, drugs, and gangsterism. In 2015, we managed to partner with 143 institutions and reach more than 22,000 youth during the school holiday periods. Over the MTEF period, we have set aside funding to the tune of 17.9 million rand for the YSRP program. Other achievements on youth-focused programs include 1,670 youth work opportunities created and 540 youth trained at Chrysiliss Academy. In the 2016-17 financial year, we aim to see these successes replicated and approved upon. Expansion of the stabilization unit within the city of Cape Town. Deputy Speaker, the crime reality in the province is a serious concern. It is a reality in which the national SAPS needs to ensure adequate policing resources and the proper training of officers. Most importantly, Honourable Speaker, the SAPS need to partner more effectively with communities and the Western Cape government if we are to see a turnaround in the current situation. This is the only way to reassure the people of the Western Cape that their safety is a priority. I am glad to see the progress we are making from our recent combined engagements with the public, and I appreciate Provincial Commissioner Jula's willingness and commitment in this regard. In our efforts to establish safety partnerships aimed at increasing safety during 2015, the department initiated the Stabilization Unit's partnership with and under the auspices of the City of Cape Town Law Enforcement. As a result of the successful implementation of these community stabilization units, more than 10 million rand will be allocated towards the project over the 2016 MTEF period. Though national government has listened to our call for the reinstatement of the specialized SAPS units, the gun and drug units to combat the skirts of drugs and gangs in our communities, we still believe national government has to equip and empower the SAPS, especially in this province, to increase visible policing efforts. We hope these specialized units will be in full operation very soon. Other than the priority areas, the department will deliver on its core functions with exciting developments and expansions as captured in the following breakdown of the department's per program expenditure. Program 1, Administration, will continue to support the officers of the Ministry, Head of Department and other related entities in providing strategic leadership and ensuring effective good governance principles. This program has largely been responsible for the consecutive clean audits and sees a nominal increase to 80.9 million rand budgeted for 2016-17. Speaker, the bulk of this program spending relates to the compensation of employees and transfer payments relating to the Western Cape Liquor Authority, which is housed in Program 1. The Western Cape Liquor Authority will be an important role player in the alcohol harms reduction game changer. Program 2, Civilian Oversight, has the objective to exercise oversight over the conduct, effectiveness, and efficiency of law enforcement agencies in the province. The program shows an increase of 16.82% to 68.8 million rand for 2016-17. The increase is largely attributed to the ring-fence allocation received for the alcohol arms game changer, as well as the after-school game changer. 3.1 million rand has been received for the social sector EPWP incentive national conditional grant. The Innovative Court Watching Briefs unit falls within this program. During 2015-16, reports were forwarded to the Provincial Commissioner on more than 117 serious cases which were removed from the court rolls, largely due to police inefficiencies. These cases include murder, attempted murder, rape, and possession of drugs and firearms. Honourable Speaker, I am excited to announce that the department's expansion of the program is on track. During January and February 2016, the Watching Brief unit was rolled out to courts in Cape Town, Goodwood, Bellville, Blue Downs, Bishop Lavis, Wynberg, Simonstown, Paarl, Athlone, Worcester, Cullinan, Hermanus, Stellenbosch, Malmesbury, Atlantis, Somerset West, Strand, Clanwilliam, Van Reinsdorp, Vredenburg, and Vredendal. The unit will be rolled out to the following courts in the near future: George, Mossel Bay, Oudtshoorn, Beaufort West, Laingsburg, Knysna, Mitchells Plain, as well as Swellendam. Honourable Speaker, you must just listen, my friend. You don't listen. Here's the information. Honourable Speaker, community policing forums play an extremely important role when it comes to keeping the police accountable to the people and communities they are supposed to serve. The department and the SAPS have successfully concluded the elections of CPF structures and, at CPF and cluster board level. The Provincial CPF board was recently elected. I wish to congratulate Mr. Andrew Lyon of Beaufort West on his election as the new chairperson of the Western Cape CPF board. The department The department, we know that very well, that he is your close friend. He's a comrade. We know that. I'm not so much aware of that. Deputy Speaker, the department will continue to work closely and train the newly elected CPF members on their roles and statutory mandate as set out in the SAPS Act, as well as on how to participate in the expanded partnership program. The EPP is a very important instrument that enables the CPFs to execute their statutory functions. Through this program, each CPF is assigned with a dedicated budget linked to a performance and cost-benefit model recommended in the National Development Plan. CPFs can use the funding to cover their overheads and to promote community police relations and community safety in their respective communities. The EPP will be expanded to the cluster board level with effect from the new financial year. An amount, Speaker, of 10.5 million rand is budgeted to support CPF structures over the MTF period. The law regulating CPFs is very clear on what the objectives of CPFs are. We will not fund CPFs who continue to play politics and who are refusing to perform their important task as investors.
Order.
The provisional results on a piloted model of support to CPF, Speaker, assisting their communities besieged by high crime levels, are encouraging, and we hope to expand on this. The department aims to improve the impact of available policing and safety resources within the province by determining the provincial policing needs and priorities accurately through consultative workshops per police cluster in the province. The 2016-17 PNP determination process will kick off in May this year and will be concluded before November 2016 to allow for the adequate dissemination of information to better effect budget consideration, and will include assisting CPFs on the implementation of community safety plans, updating the plans accordingly, and training on their roles and functions and responsibilities. Implementation of the recommendations made by Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry has seen progress. In August of 2015, the National Commissioner of Police and the Premier of the Western Cape agreed to establish a task team consisting of senior representatives of SAPS and the department to review the implementation of the recommendations and to develop a memorandum of understanding between SAPS and the department. The task team met several times in the last year, and we are looking forward to imminent engagements and renewed progress under the new leadership of Lieutenant General Jula. And I want to welcome the Honourable General Jula here with us this afternoon, sitting over there. The department participates in the various forums created in Khayelitsha with the SAPS and is taking the lead in the Alcohol Harms Reduction Forum. Program 3, Provincial Policing Functions, gives effect to the department's constitutional mandate to promote good relations between the communities and the police, including that service delivery complaints about policing in the province is dealt with independently and effectively. The budget for this program, Speaker, is 53.8 million rand. The rollout of the safety kiosk under the new safety partnership launched in 2015 will see an additional 10 kiosks handed over to capable partners who share the dedication to improve safety in their immediate areas. Some of the priority areas set to receive safety kiosks within the first quarter of 2016-17 financial year includes Nyanga, Khayelitsha, and Sandparks. These safety kiosks continue to provide communities with a visible access point to law enforcement, provide basic services and reliable communication systems with emergency services and law enforcement, and also the South African Police. Funding, Speaker, for the Wolvekloof project through donor funding from the European Union via the government budget support program will come to an end at the end of the 2016-17 financial year. However, Speaker, the Department of Community Safety has every intention to ensure that the invaluable training and development of our youth at Wolvekloof will continue beyond the new financial year, and we are looking at various funding options to enable this. The Office of the Western Cape Police Ombudsman is now fully operational with a total budget of 10.4 million rand for the new financial year. The office strives to reach all communities within the Western Cape, ensuring that people understand and know the mandate of the office and how to access the services. To this extent, the Ombudsman has even made information brochures available in Braille. Its main purpose is to investigate complaints by community members about poor service delivery from police in the province, or any breakdown in relations between the police and the community in an impartial manner. Between January 2015 and January 2016, the Ombudsman has received 286 complaints for investigation. Program 4, Security Risk Management, institutes a whole-of-government approach towards building more resilient institutions and empowers communities to promote greater safety. The budget for this program is 88.3 million rand for the 2016-17 financial year. During the current financial year, the department trained 1,382 neighbourhood watch volunteers from 46 structures and equipped 32 neighbourhood watch structures. In the year ahead, we want to see the neighbourhood watch structures capacitated and supported in terms of Section 6 of the Community Safety Act. Revenue budget, the department's own revenue budget estimate for 2016-17 amounts to 42.595 million rand, and because the revenue generated by the Western Cape Liquor Authority from liquor license fees, the department will now have tax receipts as a revenue item. An estimated 28.431 million is included in the 2016-17 budget of the department in this regard. Part of the revenue budget of departmental receipts is 13.7 million rand relating to the general budget support donor funding received for the Volve Kloof Community Safety Academy. 464,000 rand is budgeted in 2016-17 for own revenue sources for the department, including security access cards, commission on insurance, interest and debt recovered from staff. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, I wish to thank every member of the DOCS family, the staff, directors and chief directors for their service to communities, as well as inputs and assistance in making the Department of Community Safety the best functioning department in the country. A special thanks to the HOD, Gideon Morris, for your support over the last year. I thank the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Community Safety and the entire committee for their role in helping to ensure the department delivers on their mandate and to help increase safety in our communities through their oversight functions. I want to thank the staff in my office for your dedication and support, including the protection unit assigned to me for their friendly and professional service to me and their interactions with communities. Honourable Speaker, we remain in service of every person residing in the Western Cape because we realize no one can do it alone. Not even the police can do it alone. We will continue to partner with the SAPs in the province. We will continue to build relationships, sound relationships with the police. We will continue to build partnerships to help increase safety in our communities and with our communities. We need our communities to work with us towards safety in the province. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and safety starts where you are. Safety starts with everyone. I thank you.
Order, the Honourable Wenger.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I wish to thank the Minister and his department for the budget they have set out this afternoon. The Department of Community Safety envisions a safe, open opportunity society for all the residents of the Western Cape and to build resilient communities that are responsive to safety needs. The department aims to increase and improve safety in our province by promoting professional policing through oversight, by ensuring safety at public and government buildings and spaces, and by facilitating safety partnerships and building greater safety and security resilience. The budget appropriation vote for the Department of Community Safety apportions just over 292 million rand to the department for the upcoming financial year, which is a 6.25% increase. In terms of monitoring police conduct and efficiency, a responsibility that the Constitution ascribes to the province, this has been put in motion by the court watching briefs, which will be rolled out to 25 courts in the upcoming financial year, which includes courts serving Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Nyanga, and Paarl East. This team of legal experts sit in court and observe proceedings and monitor police efficiency. In the course of this program, it noted that in one quarter, there were over 20 cases of driving under the influence of alcohol, which were removed from the court roll because the blood alcohol reports were not available for court proceedings. According to a World Health Organization study, South African drinkers consume per capita 27 liters of pure alcohol per year. Our patterns of drinking score on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most risky. South Africa sits at 4. And of our drinkers, 1/4 displayed a prevalence of heavy episodic drinking. We are also on the upper end of the scale of years of life lost index, which is based on alcohol attributable years of life lost. Deputy Speaker, the department's focus in the upcoming MTEF on reducing the negative impact of alcohol and the inclusion of this as a game changer is therefore reassuring. This includes alcohol misuse and alcohol abuse and the resultant crime. A whole-of-society approach is being employed can only show gains. 4.8 million rand has been ring-fenced for the alcohol game changer so that the department can focus its energies on reducing alcohol-related harms and will become the lead department for this game changer. The department will also assume executive responsibility of the Western Cape Liquor Authority. This, however, does not mean that drug abuse is being ignored. As we heard from Minister Fritz yesterday, the Western Cape government is investing in prevention of drug addiction, as well as increased treatment facilities and broadening treatment availability. Prevention is obviously better than cure, because treatment can cost up to 10 times more than prevention. Similarly, after-school programs through mod centers, through the Department of Community Safety's FET College Partnership, the Chrysalis Academy, which this budget funds, all help our youth and keep our youth safe by providing opportunities to make meaningful life choices away from drugs and from crime. Young people are vulnerable to making risky lifestyle choices when they have limited access to recreational opportunities. This is particularly the case in high crime, drug, and gang activity areas, and even more specifically during school holiday periods. The previous December over school holidays, there was a definite safety presence in more than 50 areas in the province, which provided safe educational and developmental entertaining alternatives for youth during the school holidays in partnership with religious organizations. This YSRP not only involves youth in positive and constructive activities conducted by the religious fraternity, but also enhances the level of active citizenship with high-risk communities. The programs on offer focus on awareness and prevention of drug abuse, gangsterism, gender-based violence, child trafficking, teenage pregnancy, and provide our youth with life skills development and practical safety tips. Activities vary from sporting to song, dance, drama, and culture, as well as motivational talks and dialogues. Workshops, first aid classes, basic counseling training, and exhibitions are also on offer. In the last financial year, 24,000 youth were reached, and it is therefore encouraging that the department will continue to budget for and roll out this program in the upcoming financial year. Deputy Speaker, the Minister spoke about the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry and the work being done to implement the recommendations that were made. It is encouraging that work forges ahead. However, it must be noted that this is in the absence of a formal agreement between the department and the National Police Minister. Last year, the department noted in its budget document that it needs to, quote, enter into a memorandum of agreement as a matter of urgency to enable the department to monitor the implementation of the findings and recommendations, close quote. Indeed, recommendation 17 of the O'Regan Commission's report requires a memorandum of understanding between the department and the police. This was duly prepared by the top department and sent to the National Police Minister. Deputy Speaker, it absolutely beggars belief that I must stand here a year later and inform this House that this MOA has still not been signed by the police. This MOU is fundamental to the implementation of the recommendations set out in the report. The recommendations will without doubt improve the safety of the people of Khayelitsha. Not one member of the opposition spoke about this. Many spoke about the tragic murder of young Sinoqolo, but only to make political points. No one spoke about the real policing issues and why there's no political will to improve policing in Khayelitsha. It's almost as if the life of poor black residents of Khayelitsha do not matter to the ANC. Because if they did, surely the minister would have done everything possible to improve policing in an area where the Commission made devastating findings. Indeed, the Commission identified that SAPS does not appear to conduct regular patrols of informal neighborhoods in Khayelitsha, despite the large number of people who live in these neighborhoods. One of the former station commanders said that this means that policing of informal neighborhoods is neglected. SAPS does not answer telephones reliably at the stations. And they said, and I quote, "The evidence overwhelmingly suggests that the quality of detective work in Khayelitsha is very poor. Many cases are simply not investigated properly or at all. The proportion of cases reported to Khayelitsha that result in convictions is tiny, possibly as few as 1%. Moreover, detectives rarely provide regular and comprehensive feedback to complainants or bereaved family members. There's a range of reasons for this. The first is that detectives are simply overburdened with work. Many detectives are carrying more than 150 dockets, some more than 200.
Just 1 second, Honourable. Do you want to ask a question? Order.
I rise on a point of order.
On a point of order, I'm listening.
Rule
Order,
39.
please.
Rule 39.
Yes, thank you, member. I'm aware of Rule 39, and the chair has a duty to control the House and to ensure that members don't interrupt the member all the time with interjections. And I want to appeal to both sides not to interrupt the member. Member Wenger, you may continue.
Many detectives are carrying more than 150 dockets, some more than 200. It is not manageable. Detectives, for example, are not given SAP's email addresses or access to the internet. Detectives also fail to take dockets to court, which results in the charges being withdrawn or cases being struck off the roll. The Commission has established that there are dockets every week that do not get delivered to court. This is a serious inefficiency that has grave implications for complainants, witnesses, and family members. Close quote. They also said that the Khayelitsha Family Offences, Sexual Violence and Child Protection Unit, the FCS unit, is dysfunctional. And the head of the FCS units in the province told the Commission that it is the worst performing FCS in the province. Much was said yesterday by the opposition about the Provincial Children's Commissioner, which is tasked with monitoring. But where? Where was the indignation and anger about the FCS unit? This is a law enforcement unit directly tasked to protect children and families, and specifically children in Khayelitsha, where the unit is dysfunctional. They also found that Khayelitsha police stations have amongst the lowest police to population ratios in the province. There was no explanation offered why those stations that have very high crime rates and extremely difficult policing environments have the lowest police to population ratios in the province. The Commissioner said that there is, and I quote, a systemic bias against poor areas, particularly those inhabited by African and coloured people. Close quote. Why then has the Minister of Police chosen to turn a blind eye to this? Why is the Minister of Police bumbling on this? When the opposition stands up and says that resources are allocated to leafy suburbs and not to the poor, what they mean to say is that the departments the ANC is responsible for allocate resources away from crime-ridden communities and starve poor communities of the policing they deserve. Every individual has the right, an equal right, to the protection of government.
Order 1 second. Honourable Chief Whip.
Deputy Speaker, our tolerance levels with regard to this interruption has come to a limit. We must insist, please, that if they're not interested in this debate, this is a serious topic, a really serious topic where lives are at stake.
Order, Honourable Magaka.
Deputy Speaker, the members of the public are here. They're entitled to hear what the arguments are. They're not able to hear the arguments because of this constant chatter from the other side, people who are not serious about their job nor other people's
Thank you,
lives.
Member Wiley. Order. Honourable Magaka. When a point of order is raised, the chair is asked for silence, please. And I want the House also to come to order now. Mr. Wiley is correct. There are far too many interjections, which is not constructive in any case. Honourable Wenger, please continue.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Every individual has an equal right to the protection of government. And Speaker, we cannot allow a situation where institutionalized discrimination against poor crime-affected communities persists. Similarly, as the Minister of Community Safety mentioned a few moments ago, the national government is not supporting the Western Cape Community Safety Act regulations on the regular release of crime statistics. We cannot prevent citizens from knowing the truth about crime. Placing crime statistics under wraps will not make crime go away.
Honourable Gauka, you're raising a point of order or to leave? Point of order.
Just a question.
Point of
I
order.
just want to ask if she can.
You want
take-
to ask a question? Honourable Wenger, are you prepared to take a question? The answer is no. The answer is no. Please continue.
Placing crime statistics under wraps will not make crime go away. We need to know what is going on so we can deal with it and so we can prevent crime. If we only get our statistics once a year, by which time some of the numbers will already be 18 months out of date, then government's response will be even further delayed. Experts agree that up-to-date and accurate crime information is an essential tool in fighting crime and creating real and localized responses. If safety is everyone's responsibility, then the police should be upfront about crime trends and crime statistics so that we can action responses, not only from the police, but also from other departments and organizations which could potentially help and assist to make our province safer. Such organizations include the Community Police Forum. The department's expanded partnership program, which is a program between the department and the CPFs, is designed to improve safety in local communities by motivating CPFs to conduct structured oversight as contemplated in the SAPS Act, and thereby promote good community police relations. The management of this program is becoming more sophisticated with the EPP website, which CPFs can use for web-based reporting. Reporting templates are also being revised to be more efficient and streamlined. This kind of partnership is to be encouraged. Individuals and communities alike can be partners in safety, and as the department's slogan goes, safety is everyone's responsibility, and this includes neighborhood watches. Many individuals and communities across our province sign up and volunteer their time to be the eyes and ears on the ground. Many of these men and women patrol come rain or shine, come night or day, and help keep us safe. These are the CPFs, the Neighbourhood Watch members who we thank and pay tribute to. The department will finalise the regulations of the Community Safety Act this year, which will provide an accurate record of Neighbourhood Watch structures at police sector level, as well as a record of affiliated members. The department will be in a position to present progressive training modules over a period of time and support volunteers and professional neighbourhood watchers, and to strongly encourage cooperation with other structures such as CPFs. Finally, Deputy Speaker, the department has set aside budget for the development and implementation of a transversal safety and security policy, which is well underway. The implementation of this strategy will bring about an overall transformation through the coordination of policy, structure, organisation, methodology, performance management, and communication. From all of this, Deputy Speaker, it is clear that the 292 million rand budget for the department in the upcoming financial year is a budget that has the safety of the inhabitants of our province at its core. On behalf of the Standing Committee, I thank the Minister, the Head of the Department, Mr. Morris, and the Chief Directors and Directors for always being available and responsive to our questions in committee. We similarly thank the Police Commissioner General Jula and the station commanders who have graciously hosted us at many police stations across the province. Deputy Speaker, the DA supports this budget. Thank you.
I see the Honourable Lekker.
The dynamite. The blow purpose.
Order.
Enkosi Sekela Somlo. Indeed, the ANC agrees that people living in the Western Cape should feel safe at home, at school, and at work. They must enjoy a community life free of fear. Women must walk freely in the streets, and children must play safe in their neighborhoods without any fear of being abducted, raped, or killed. I want to pay tribute to the young people who died because of the scourge of violence. I want to pay tribute to baby Inganati, a 7-month-old baby who was killed by a stepdad in the informal settlement in Siyahlala, and Vuiseka Chebe, also killed in the Siyanyanzela informal settlement. I want to also pay tribute to those members of SAPS who died in the line of duty since our last budget debate. I want to call on all citizens to assist in removing illegal firearms from the society, to work with SAPS, CPFs, and other community-based organizations. I am particularly concerned that today we are discussing the budget that is supposed to bring about hope to the unemployed youth of Kwamandle Nkosi in Beaufort West, the budget that is supposed to bring a spring of hope to the poor unemployed mother at Achterlaan informal settlement in Bishop Lavis. The truth is, this budget does not even come close to that. Yeah. The sad tale of inequalities is so obvious that this DA-led administration would want to hide the truth. And please, let me tell you that while you are busy hiding the truth about inequalities that exist in our society, you are limiting any possibilities of finding solutions. This administration must, amongst other things, have the guts to move away from the apartheid spatial planning and bring an integrated infrastructure development and housing of the previously disadvantaged neighborhoods close to the established economic hubs in the province. I am alarmed by the absence of one of the most critical programs by our national government, the 16 days of activism against children and women abuse, that is aimed at bringing the awareness about the continued attack on women and children in this province. For the past years, this department and the Premier have failed to recognize and put financial resources towards this program. The truth is that the province and the city of Cape Town, with other relevant departments, have the biggest role to play in creating safety, namely social development, human settlement, education, local government, and the transversal projects under the Department of the Premier. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. The foundation of safety is the design of the apartheid spatial plan. The unequal layout of resources which perpetuates the historical divides and exclude the majority of the population from integration in the main socio-economic activities in the province. Does this budget really give hope when this gruesome historic past is not addressed? I doubt. I really wish that the department will really convince me that this budget does not protect the interest of the rich, mainly white communities, against the poor. The Department of Community Safety must stop paying lip service and really build safer communities where all people will and feel safe. Recreational facilities that have been deserted for many decades, even after the democratic breakthrough in 1994. The case in point is a murder which took place just last year in October in the Old Cross Road soccer field, where a young woman was brutally attacked, raped, and dumped into an open and left to die inside a drain. This would not have been the case if the Department of Local Government had the interests of the poor and marginalized at heart. The various departments should have had integrated program with the Department of Sports and Culture, systematically including the Department of Tourism, to effectively deal with societal ills. The Department of Community Safety, with its DA-led administration, continues throwing around the concept of the so-called game changer on alcohol reduction. This is just a buzzword. It does not help the most vulnerable, particularly women and children, who continue bearing the consequences to this very end. Firstly, the City of Cape Town bylaws must be amended. Liquor license trading hours and days must be reduced. This will not help to reduce the intake of alcohol and other substances, but it will also reduce the number of injured persons who are treated in various hospitals around the province. The recent oversight at Tygerberg Hospital clearly pointed out that more than 50% of patients were treated as a result of either caused by alcohol or other forms of substance abuse. The Department of Community Safety must, in its strategic plans, work towards the banning of the advertising of alcohol, as this is the great contributor which fuels violent crimes and gang-related killings. The recent killings of young women and girls come to mind, namely the 33-year-old Zara Hector, who was snatched while driving a car in Kuilsrivier. Her body was found by police in Groot Drakenstein. A 19-year-old Sinokolo Mafevuka, who was murdered while using a communal toilet in Khayelitsha, which is more than 50 meters away from where she stays. And there are many more similar cases every day in the Western Cape. Gang violence and killings are prevalent in this province and go unabated, especially in Cape Town. Many a times, victims of gang killings are law-abiding, innocent citizens who happen to reside in communities where violence is rife. This was the case in Lavender Hill, where 2 young men were shot in their heads and died instantly, while 4 others aged between 11 and 34 years were left injured. Only for MEC Dan Plato to acknowledge that gang-related shooting was getting out of hands, but offered no solution to it except for turning back to the president for help. Does this budget make provision for the re-established of gang unit from the department's point of view to meet national government halfway in this regard? The war on drugs needs everyone, including various government spheres. Recently in Brown's Farm, we have witnessed the emergence of dacha muffins, which are sold to school-going children. And while we have sadly noted the absence of social workers at the municipal offices in Brown's Farm, and from where we're sitting, we are told they have been recalled and went back to Athlone because they were deployed in Brown's Farm with no resources, not even a telephone line. So yes, once again, SAPS must now deal with the scourge of drugs without any support from other departments. To what extent is the department in support of the restorative program, and to what exactly is the plan for victims to be treated? Minister Plato's arrogance on drugs leaves a lot to be desired. In his response to the drug epidemic, he played the usual game to blame the national government. I quote, "In our lifetime, we will not get rid of the scourge of drugs." Close the quotes. This clearly shows that the Department of Community Safety, which is DA-led, has no political will to address the problem. DA is turning its back to the people of the Cape Flats, whom on a daily basis have to face up with this challenge. This is squarely because the war on the drug territory does not affect the affluent areas like Camps Bay and Bishop Scott. It does not affect It does not affect the haves. Hence, it is easy for this DA-led department not to care for the have-nots. Minister Dan Plato is indeed up to his old tricks again. This DA-led administration must stop being opportunistic and shift the blame to other spheres of government when it cannot deliver to its constituency. That is why Cape Town is still rated amongst 10 most violent cities, where it was reported that in 2015, Cape Town registered 2,451 homicide cases among a population of 3.74 million people, giving it a rate of 65.53 per 100,000 people. Surprisingly, other ranked cities in South Africa, namely Nelson Mandela Bay and Durban, have dropped down the ranking.
I wonder why.
The department prides itself of having allocated Chrysalis graduates to 32 CPFs. The truth is, not all graduates are still on site, and that is the case in point which transpired in the oversight visited Chrysalis. And as we speak, Nyanga CPF is sitting without the so-called administration support. Maybe at some point the DA will come to terms with the reality that its plan to create a second layer apartheid army style fails. Please stand down now and call it off. The youth recruitment to participate in the Chrysalis Academy is welcomed for skills development, but not for the format which includes military training. We do not need youngsters who will soon be military veterans. The Verwoodian style will only create zombies and not allow our youth to grow mentally and emotionally, but to be stuck in the post-traumatic stress disorder. Should I remind you that the ambulance driver who was present during the killing of the Guguletu 7 was still suffering from PTSD until recently? And now you want to expose young people into military style. We urge you, for the sake of our youth development, to focus on vocational and skills training and leave this Verwoodian style. The few that have joined law enforcement agencies have made their choices, and it must be not a one-size-fits-all. Madam Speaker, I wish I can genuinely see the good use of the safety kiosk. When one takes a drive now, you will see the safety kiosk situated at Harare Spa Complex. It is supposed to be manned by a Chrysalis graduate, whilst the one that is at the back of the legislature is manned by either Iliso Security Company or the security officers from distinct choice. If it can happen just here behind the building, then why is it that GX Security in the same complex in Harare cannot mend the safety kiosk there? I will tell you why. It is because this department chooses who it wants to work with, and again giving a cold shoulder to the very small emerging companies. It is against this background that the African National Congress will not support this budget.
It makes sense.
The partnership with North Link College is indeed something that is questionable. A young person from Beaufort West had to pay 1,500 registration. The mother had to pay 4,000 rand on textbook. Unfortunately, she could not afford accommodation, and that young person is now staying in Delft. And you tell me that there's a bursary at Northlink College. Now, the 292 million, the ANC would really love to support it, but unfortunately, due to the fact that all of the above presentation that I have made does really not indicate that the budget is for the poor, And because this budget is anti-poor, we will not support it. Lastly, stop hiding the truth about the inequalities that are so evident and get into grips with the reality of the two cities that exist in Cape Town. That there is a city for the haves and the city for the have-nots. I thank you.
Order. Thank you, member. All please come to order. Order. Minister Plato to reply.
Honourable Deputy Speaker,
Just 1 second. Is there a question or a point of order? What is it?
Speaker, I just want to understand from you, is it allowed that a member must run a pyramid scheme of fundraising inside the House whilst we are busy?
Order,
Because
I'm not a-
Honorable, while he is doing that, he's running pyramid scheme. People have been signing. I don't know what.
Order. Order. I will follow up later on about that one. Minister Plato, you may continue.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I would like to say to the Honourable Member Wenger, thank you very much for your valuable input. We note your concerns and thank you also for your support and the fact for your confirmation of many of the issues I've raised. I agree with you. Limited recreational facilities in many areas, and that is why we partner with our religious fraternity across the board for their assistance. And I would like to use the opportunity to thank our religious sector for the fact that they want to partner with the Department of Community Safety and to accept the fact that they do have a role to play in our communities to uplift our youngsters and to create space for them, to make of them much, much better people. With regard to the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry, I just want to say, regardless the fact that there is not a MOU in place as yet, we will continue working very closely with our partners, with the police, with the community of Khayelitsha, to fulfill our constitutional mandate. We will continue to implement the recommendations. And the absence of a MOU will not stop us from doing just that. I know many of the other issues raised, answering of telephones, detectives overwork. I think Commissioner Jula, he is already briefed with regard to many of the problems raised by the member and other members of the public regarding SAPS's service delivery. It is work in progress. With regard to comments flinging from the floor with regard to street lights and cameras, I have said it many a times in the past. This provincial government have a specific constitutional mandate. The honourable members cannot expect of this government to implement lights and looking at road systems. That is things that need to be done by the local authority. It doesn't belong here. But what is the councillors doing in those areas? I want to say that. The issue with regard to cameras, I've said it, they always refer to CCTV cameras putting up this side. The councillors this side use their councillor budget they receive every year to put in cameras. Why can't the councillors that side of the road not doing exactly the same? They don't want to do it. The monies get used, like my colleague are saying, for parties and for NGOs and that sort of thing, not for this purpose. The mindset of the councillors in Khayelitsha and other areas need to change. And then the reason why we want regular crime stats, so that we can pick up front where's the problem areas lying in the Western Cape, so that the departments can zoom in so that departments can go and address the issues. Likewise with what we're doing now with our current reaching out programs. And I want to thank Lieutenant General Jula for allowing his senior staff to accompany me into many areas on the Cape Flats. Like with what we've done yesterday in Ocean View, with what we've done in Menenberg and other areas as well, to go as a united front into the hotspot areas to address the issues in the communities. Yesterday was, and I want to show you one newspaper article. Yesterday was really not a good day for us as a united front. Within one of the newspapers, SAPD have failed us. We want to get that notion, that perception, we want to get it out of the way. That is why we're doing it together in our communities to address the issues about safety with the police and the communities. With regard to comments made about street committees, we do support the structuring of street committees. There's many street committees in the informal areas, but also in the built-up areas, in other areas as well. And then I need to say this continued referral that if I get to Pat Lecker, the Honourable Pat Lecker, I just want to say she's referring to us politicizing policing, and that's it's exactly what she's doing. Her debate was nothing other than politics. I have to put it to her. We are doing nothing correct, nothing right, nothing right. But looking at our projects and our programs, the communities like it, it is workable programs, and we're doing it even in her area. She did not even have the audacity to refer to the work we are doing in Nyanga and to the hundreds of youngsters from Nyanga. We, through the department, we write them in to study at Northlink College and other institutions. That is not being said. No recognition to that. And I want to say I agree with the member, we regret the death of many people in our communities. That is why we are addressing the issues in the manner we are doing. But to blame us for the youth that is unemployed, it got to be an integrated approach. And for the youngsters to go and study, I need to say, we must not politicize crime in our communities. There's so many of our poor, poverty-stricken youth in the townships and on the Cape Flats that is not in school, that is not studying. And I want to say, if we want to do justice to what we are saying here today, we, the ANC and the DA, must actually lift their butts together and enter into those communities and upcommand those youngsters to go and study. Education is the key to empowerment. Nothing else. We need to give them something so that they can go and create their own job opportunities. And our planning definitely is integrated. The alcohol game changer can do a lot to transform our communities. Alcohol in our communities is a major problem.
Minister. I'm looking at the three backbenchers of the ANC. There's three ladies, Honourable Diana, Lecker and Makaleni. Please contain yourselves. You can't comment on each statement by the Minister.
Honourable Member,
please continue, Minister.
I agree with you, and I have said it in my speech. The amount of liquor licenses, we will have to look at that. It's a reality in Nyanga, but it is also a reality across the Western Cape province. And that is exactly one of the issues we as the Department of Community Safety are going to address with the Liquor Board. And then I also regret the killing, and I want to say we cannot want to stand man for each and every killing in each and every street in our communities. We regret it, but that is why we need the developmental projects in our communities to change the mindsets of our people. I had the opportunity to visit that girl's family, and it wasn't a nice visit. It was very tragic. The gangster killings, and let me say, we are not getting at the police. What we are saying, the police in the Western Cape, they have said it themselves to us. They are overworked as a result of a limited force in the Western Cape. We're just asking for one thing. We're saying to SAPS National, because it's a SAPS national function, it's not a local government or a provincial government function. We're talking about more efficient and more effective policing. We're saying to the police, if detectives telling us they struggle to work through 250 dockets per police officer, it is clear there is a problem, and it is clear we need to raise the problem. We don't raise an issue to get at the police. We raise an issue as part of our oversight responsibilities to say to the police, there's an issue, look into that issue. That's all we're doing. With regard to drugs, and I want to say about drugs, and the member have said it, and I want to stick to what I've said in the standing committee the other day. The point is about drugs. Let me say, it is not the duty of the Western Cape government alone to stop the skirts of gangsterism and drug abuse in our communities. It's a joint effort by all role players. And let me further say to you, it is this government allowing our borders to be open for each and every Tom, Dick and Harry to bring in the drugs over the border. What are they doing about it? Let's say it. It's a fact. What are they doing about it? Nothing. Nothing. We have to complain about that. Let me say, because of the fact that our borders is open, we're finding this problem in South Africa and in the West. The drug problem also in KwaZulu-Natal and in Gauteng is rising as a result of this. That is why we're saying to government, we want the drug unit and the gangster unit to be reinstated almost immediately. And this notion of the drug problem is only an issue in the township areas. That is not true. You find the drug problem also in the affluent areas. You can go to all the rehabilitation centers. It is full of whites and blacks and colors, all racial groups. It is not true that the drug problem only affecting the disadvantaged communities. But yes, it is very rife in the disadvantaged communities. And let me conclude by saying, Speaker, and you must say asseblief, and let me say to you, we will continue doing in our communities what we need to do to uplift our people, to create a better life for our people in the disadvantaged and all communities and all over the Western Cape province. I thank you.
Order. That concludes the debate on this vote.